Hey, welcome everybody to Manny's Irish Pub. I am your host, John Ryan, and I am pleased to start the show off with Tony Mejia of WagerTalk. Welcome to the show, Tony. I appreciate your time, especially on a late Friday afternoon here in the East Coast. And curious to know how your week has been going.
John, thanks for having me as always. Week has been great outside of yesterday, and yesterday was actually a great baseball day because I went 5-1. But my big play, which I was coming in 10-1 on NBA playoff 5% plays, was on Phoenix because I figured with Chris Paul back, no Kawhi Leonard, I thought Paul returning, especially to that building, the Staples Center, knowing how important it was to stomp out the Clippers, would make a huge difference, and he just didn't have it, and Devin Booker just didn't have it, and they combined to shoot 8 for 40, and I hated the refs being one-sided, and credit Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverley played excellent games, and Paul George showed up, so I'll take the L, but I was on Atlanta, and now I'm 10-2 on 5% plays these playoffs, still pretty good. I'll look for an opportunity this month.
I think you got to put an asterisk on your record, too, with the asterisk at the bottom of the page stating that maybe John Ryan whammied me by promoting the 5%er for the first time on the show.
Oh, and then the double
just kidding, but, you know.
The double asterisk is my first loss was the game Kyrie Irving got hurt and I was on Brooklyn. So I'm perfect then. I'm perfect.
Well, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, the if-then clause. That was pretty good. It was... I felt actually fortunate to have the Clippers. I came with the side that it was a must-win. I didn't like the fact that they were playing their third consecutive round where they were down 0-2, and sooner or later that doesn't work in the NBA playoffs. It's very rare that these teams, especially in round 3, can go down 0-2 and then respond. But we'll find out Saturday night if they can tie up this series. I can't imagine Booker being contained the way he was in Game 2. And I'm still trying to figure out whether it was the defense or whether it was just a bad shooting night. And you would certainly be a good source to tell me which it was.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was... one thing that I'm going to do tomorrow morning before I make a play on it, because I have a lot of opinions on that game and that matchup now, is see who the referees are. Period. Because if it's a crew that's going to crack down on Patrick Beverley with how physical he is defensively, or if it's somebody that's going to call moving screens on Zubac, which nobody did yesterday, despite the fact that he was setting them all night, then advantage Phoenix and advantage potentially the over. But if it's gonna be a let them play mentality, which I don't mind. I mean, then you're gonna see a game like that, which really reminded me of a 1990s Western Conference playoff game. Not quite Eastern Conference. It was an 88-78, but it was one team got to 100, and they let them play, and Zubac was never in foul trouble, and everybody was physical inside. So, I mean, my only beef was with the moving screens because I counted about 8 of them. But and obviously,
if you get
more changes, it was really glaring, and you could see Monty Williams calling for them left and right. So, yeah, Joe Madden just asked me, do you think that there's any truth to the NBA wants to extend some of these series? Potentially. And then, the Scott Foster, Chris Paul thing, where Chris Paul always loses when Scott Foster's officiating. So anytime you see Foster on this Clippers Phoenix series, advantage LA unless there's some other factors. And I also had the misfortune of losing Cameron Payne to that ankle injury, which I thought was a major factor. They went to each one more briefly, but he's just not the same player. And, Payne was such a factor, first 2 games has been all postseason. So we need to see with the severity of that ankle injuries. And if he's out for Game 4, that's also advantage LA.
Yeah, I would agree. He was huge in Game 2 when Booker wasn't making the shots.
29-9 in Game 2 is a marvelous performance. And he really has gotten better. He was drafted by Oklahoma City. and so he's played behind Russell Westbrook and he's played behind Chris Paul, and now he's back under Paul again, and he's learned a lot. He's a really good shooter. So he's a catalyst. I mean, they'll miss him if he's not there. It changes Monty Williams' rotations. So that was an X factor you can't see coming that really works against you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping Tony Fink comes on pretty soon. Tony, can you hear me? Are you watching us? I have your first 5 innings in Major League Baseball, and the results are not what you think they are. It is pretty amazing. I broke it out by team as well, and some of the teams, obviously like Baltimore, you definitely play them first 5 because that bullpen is just not trustworthy in any shape or form. But some of the other teams, the majority of them, if they're leading after 5, it's in the mid 80% range that they win the game. So maybe come to think of it, Tony, there might be actually opportunities to play Baltimore if they are tied or leading after 5, because the odds would be very much value oriented for Baltimore, if I'm thinking it right, because the line is going to be set thinking that Baltimore's going to blow the lead.
Mm-hmm. So right now they're untouchable for me. And like the Reds, bullpen is very similar, but they held on to that lead against the Braves last night. The Braves in a game that I was watching. That was my big baseball play for the night, and that was a nail biter too. Brett Brock got the save, and they got some decent innings, but fumbled away the lead, then had to get it back. And there was a base running error that cost a run, an insurance run, which was invaluable. The Reds pulled that out, and I can say I'm on the Reds series price. I don't really do series prices very often, but I really like the Reds over the Braves in a 4-game set. So they only need one more to at least get me the split, and it's just because of the Acuna injury. The fact that they have to carry so many relievers right now. Charlie Morton pinch hit last night, like the 4th inning.
Yeah, I mean,
so that shows you the depleted state of that squad, and they're on the, I think, 2nd leg of a road trip. So come into town.
Yep.
I actually didn't think that Cincinnati game would be as close as it is, but it was definitely a different type game than I expected. Close and lower scoring given that ballpark.
Yep, I completely agree. I will. Let's see. We have Joe D'Amico just appeared. I think we'll bring him on now. I can see him. He always sports the look, and this is a rather unique look. And I know he can hear me, so I'm only trying to rev him up, because not that he needs revving up, Tony. We know he doesn't need any revving up.
No, if he were a lawnmower, you'd only need to plug him. Push it once. Push it once.
I'm sure he'll take that as a compliment. I really do.
That's meant as a compliment.
Let's bring him on here.
Everybody should be themselves.
Well, thank you for that compliment, Tony. I do take it as a compliment. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I'm ready to start mowing the bookmaker's lawn and taking his money. How is everybody?
How you doing, Joe?
I am wonderful, Tony. John, how is everybody on this glorious Friday?
Hey, we're doing great. Weather over here in the East Coast is like Vegas-like, and can't wait to get out there and swing the club a little bit at that little white ball. And yeah, we all know I like golf.
Well, I got to tell you, we're getting some wonderful weather. Last week we had, and don't listen to those liars that put out the weather reports. It was tipping 119, 120. It was hot. We did have a minor bit of humidity the other day. When we get 7 or 8 or 9%, let me tell you, it's hot. But I will tell you, my sister she lives by in the West Point area, which is upstate New York, Washingtonville, all in that area. And she had about 87 degrees with 100% humidity. And literally, you said you couldn't even leave the house. It's that bad. And I know for the people out there that look at the weather reports, Vegas, 115, 116, 117, guys, we don't deal with the humidity. And please understand that they give liquor out absolutely for free here in this city, so it bothers you even less, the heat. I'm just excited to be here. It's a great week. I'm here with Tony Mejia. Tony, people don't realize this, but you're not that they don't realize this. I don't know if a lot of people in the sports memo world know, but you're an excellent writer. You and I were, we contributed to the same publication for a couple of years. And a very, very, I like doing the show with you. We did that show a few weeks ago. I picked up a lot of angles, and as long as I've been in this business and as acclaimed as I am, I do pick up bits of information from people in this business like Tony Mejia, John Ryan, Tony Finn, Rob Veno. Sports Memo's got the best, and I got to tell you, I just love sharing the panel with you. I didn't know you were going to be on today. I'm going to do a quick hit, get in and get out today. But I am going to come back later and listen to the rest of the show, if that's all right.
That's fine. That is absolutely fine. If you want to start your free pick now, you have the stage.
Got to tell you, very excited about a few things. The good people at Sports Memo, though, John, Tony, were gracious enough to let me do the $2 Tuesday this past week. Once again, Joe D pulls it in. For those nearly 1,000 people that bought my plays, guys, I got to tell you, I gave out a 5-unit play on the $2 Tuesday. Run line Houston Astros, they win 3-1. But I had a 10-unit play, Milwaukee Brewers 5-0. We're going to continue the winning streak today, and I've got a special announcement for everybody right afterwards. I've got a winner for everybody, and I want everybody to know that in baseball right now, over the past few weeks, we've been seeing more and more of the baseball daily slate come in at, you're seeing very few games, $1.20 and $1.30. You're seeing most of them, $1.50, $1.60, $2, $3. 3 and change we've seen games lately the last few days. Guys, if a baseball game, in my opinion, does not offer you value, step away. Tomorrow's another day. But I did happen to find one game on the board today I'm very excited about. Just like me, going to keep it short and sweet. And God knows I'm very short, but I am very sweet. Cincinnati right now in the NL Central mix, guys. Meanwhile, Atlanta has just joined the other 4 teams in the NL East, all looking at the New York Mets' butt. They're looking at the rear end. New York seems to be separating themselves right now. Cincinnati matches up with Atlanta today. Very few teams can contend with the Reds lineup, and the Braves guys certainly aren't one of them. They do have a couple of good hitters. But right now, Cincinnati's offense, 4th in the majors in scoring, 7th in team batting average, 5th in OPS, 10th in home runs. Atlanta does have some respectable numbers. They have 1 or 2 guys that are consistently hitting the ball. But overall, I want to tell you a word that is not in the Atlanta Braves dictionaries, particularly on offense, and that is consistency. One word that is in their dictionary is the word erratic. All right, 1 or 2 guys are playing well, but the rest of the lineup, guys, 2 guys right now cannot make it. You're seeing pitchers get shelled, and 1 or 2 guys that are hitting the ball for Atlanta cannot make up the difference for the 7 guys that aren't. Cincinnati took game 1 of the series yesterday, 5-3. Today, Drew Smiley and Vladimir Gutierrez. I love that name. Guys, they're slated to take the hill today. Smiley 4-3 with a 5.11. Guys, the team is 5-10 in his 15 appearances this season. Gutierrez has made 5 starts on the campaign. His first 4, 23 innings pitched. He allowed just 7 runs. He struck out 19. He comes off a poor outing. Guys, his first poor outing of the year. And I think he's got good I think he's a good pitcher. I really do. I think he's solid. I think you know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get 6 innings out of him, possibly more. But you're going to get a guy that can strike out 5 or 6. You're going to get a guy that makes very few mistakes. And coming off a poor performance, I think he's got the chutzpah to come right back and get a win here. Atlanta 3-7 the last 10 on the road, 3-7 the last 10 versus right-handed starters. 1-5 the last 6 as an underdog. Cincinnati 4-0 the last 4 at home, 4-1 the last 5 versus lefties, 6-1 the last 7 as a 5-1 the last 6 as a favorite. I like the Reds here. I'm going to bet them, take my bookmaker's money. You follow me, you will too. It just missed making my premium plays. I do have 2 premium games on the board today. My 21-10 Major League home run play. My NBA crashed the boards. Last week, 3 big games in the NBA playoffs. 1 game of the month, 2 games in the year. And guess what Joey did? 3-0. Got to make one big announcement. I just got this in, John and Tony, excuse me. So excited. I know it's the summer. I know we're just looking at the last few series in NHL and NBA. I know we're about to hit All-Star break in baseball. I've got to tell you, you don't realize this. Football is right around the corner. The good people over at Sports Memo, knowing that I'm a multi-time college and pro football handicapping champion, documented, guys. They've allowed me to put up a discount just this past hour. I'm so excited. Guys, you're not going to be able to get a week for this price, for these prices that you get by early bird. $5.95 NFL, $5.95 NCAA football together, a combo $8.99. Guys, I've got a bunch of NFL and NCAA football handicapping championships every year over the last 17. I'm in the top 10 on every leaderboard there is. This will pay for itself in the first few weeks, whether you're a $50 player or a $5 player. This just came in literally over the last few minutes. They just allowed me to do that. I know I can suck the air out of a room, guys, but I'm so excited to be finishing up the week with two of the best looking and the best handicappers on the planet, John Ryan and Tony Mejia. Guys, I can't thank you enough for having me. And let me I know that once I come on, you guys can take a minute, maybe order a pizza, eat half of it, and then by the time I'm done, but I appreciate you letting me come on, stealing a little bit of thunder, because I'm very excited of what's happening over at Sports Memo, but I'm very excited for John and Tony that I get to share the last video of the week with you, and I can't tell you how much this means to me, because you're two of the best and two of my favorites on the planet.
Appreciate that.
He has to start taking these shows more seriously, Tony, don't you think? And show a little bit more enthusiasm for being on the show.
I'm excited, John. I get to, Tony, I've done quite a few of these shows now with John in the last month or two, and I enjoy it. And, in our business, which is a business, mind you, sometimes it's a churn. People don't realize out there, I'm up at 2 a.m. I do more before 7 a.m. than the Army does all day. The old joke that the Army does more than 7 a.m. But I got to tell you, man, I do a lot. And towards the end of the day, we get tired. I'm not a kid anymore. I know I look good for my age. I'm 52. I'll be 52 in a week. But I get a little tired. But I actually get excited and happy and look forward to doing the shows with John Ryan. And when I get to do it with Tony Finn, Rob Veno, and Tony Mejia, it makes that show even more special for me. So I want to tell you, I know that I come on and I'm like, but I'm very excited. I'm like a kid that gets to take the field at Yankee Stadium when I'm around you guys. So I appreciate you having me. Let me come in for a quick cameo and let me steal some thunder, because you guys are the best there is. And to allow me a few minutes of fame, I really appreciate you guys very much. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, Joe. It's always exciting. If anybody was a little tired on the show and
he's like a cup of crew and cafecito.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can only drink that much. That's that's Joe. He's gonna pick me up.
Well, I appreciate that, Tony. I just get excited. I can't sing and dance. I was just with a buddy of mine who's the front man from one of the biggest rock bands in the history of the world the last 40 plus years. And he asked me every time, he said, how'd you get into that? I said, buddy, I can't sing like you, but I can pick winners. I'm lucky enough, and I'm very fortunate to do what I love for a living and to do it with people that I love, like you and John Ryan, Tony. So thank you.
All right. Great to see you.
Love
you
it,
got a big weekend planned?
What's that?
You got a big weekend planned?
This weekend we've got a few shows we're going to attend. My wife and I have tickets. It would probably be cheaper for me to do crack, but we see a lot of shows and go to a lot of events. So I got tickets for like everybody from Usher to Carrie Underwood to Katy Perry to Gwen Stefani.
Names.
We've got a bunch of Raiders tickets. We got WWE coming up. But the Summer League just went on sale. The good people of the Summer League have been nice to me, because I wrote a nice article on them for the Las Vegas Review-Journal maybe, 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. They invite me every year. The last few years I was unable to go because of previous commitments, but I want to be going this year. They have not let out the schedule yet. They usually wait for the draft and for some other things because, and for like the season to really come to an end before they put out the schedule. They try to match up some of the more exciting teams together. Very excited about that. If anybody's out there, I'm an advocate for Vegas. If you get a chance to go to the NBA Summer League, it's over at the Thomas and Mack and the Cox Pavilion. It is an amazing situation for about a week and a half. All the best. Well, a lot of the younger players and some of the guys. All right, LeBron may not play, but he'll be in the stands. Real quick ditty, I got it, Tony. So I grew up in New York. Probably didn't, realize that, anybody out there. But I grew up in New York, a big Knicks fan, and so I go to the Summer League a few years back, and I've got just to my left, I got a game-worn Walt Frazier jersey that I'm wearing. Now, obviously, I lie. I say I'm 5'8", Walt Frazier's a basketball player. He's a tall guy. Officially, what, 6'6", 6'7", maybe taller, I don't know. And I got an old jersey on and goes down to my knees. And I'm at the summer league, and I get a tap on my shoulder. He says, "Hey, kid, nice jersey." It's Walt Frazier. So it was just amazing. And he's like, "Can I sign that for you?" So I let him sign the jersey. We BS'd for a while. I was sitting just behind the Knicks. I happened to be the Knicks were there that day. I was just behind the Knicks bench. He was on the opposite side broadcasting the game for the MSG network. And he kept waving to me and stuff. So after the game, he made a beeline for me to talk more about sports, and it was just wonderful. And then I says, "Listen, before I get any further, you owe me $325. And he looked at me with this puzzled look. I says, "I can't wear this jersey anymore. You ruined it with your signature." So I laughed, but this is the type of things you sit in the stands with greats. We have sat with Ewing. We have sat with him. We have sat with Steve Kerr. We have sat with Chris Mullins. We have sat with so many great players, and every young player that's in the league, guys, is at those games. So if you get a chance, sports fan or not, whether you got kids or not, whether you're a big kid like I am, this is a wonderful opportunity. Sorry, but I'm an advocate for everything Vegas, and I love the fact that we're open back up. But yes, big weekend. We have some friends putting on a show on the Strip, which is nice to see. A lot of my friends that have names up on the marquees and all over the Strip as headliners are back at work where they should be. And Vegas is open. The day and nightclubs are open. The pools are open. The shopping, entertainment capital will come on down. And anybody out there that comes to Vegas, you hit me up on Twitter at Joe D'Amico Wins. If I have time, I'll come meet you and buy you a beer. I don't care if you bought my place or if you're a $5 player, a $5 better. I love meeting people that like the same things I do. So don't feel shy. Don't be shy. Feel free to hit me up. I'd love to come meet you because I meet tons of people out there that support me. And if it wasn't for them, I might have had to take singing lessons because they've afforded me the luxury and the life that I can do something I love to do. So come on out. But yeah, always big things in Vegas. Tony, where are you? What part of the country?
I'm in Orlando, but I'll be down to Vegas probably in August. I've covered my share of summer leagues. That was part of the gig, and I can concur. I mean, it's great to see everybody casually watching games in the stands. Evaluating talent. Nobody beats NBA communications. I'm biased, but Tim Frank and his staff do a ridiculous job of being accommodating to everybody. So absolutely, and it's a ton of fun. A lot of walking though, especially between Cox and Thomas and Mack, and getting up and down and then moving. So
yeah, but just between the two arenas, there's a concession stand that serves beer, and it's very cold. So I'm okay with that.
And it's very necessary.
I will ask you this: when you come out next time, let me know beforehand. Dinner's on me.
I still don't have plans deciphered yet, but it's almost a certainty that I'll be on there to register for Circa, I believe. Maybe Westgate too, but we'll see.
I think I'll be in those this year myself, so we'll go down. But I would love to do dinner with you, Tony. I really would be an honor for me.
I'll touch base.
And once again, I don't think I need bail money for you like I needed if Tony Finn and I go out, but always got bail money on hand.
All right, very good.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, John.
Oh, you bet,
I
Joe.
love you with all my heart. I'm telling you, it's Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, and you, my three favorite hosts of all time. I love you, Johnny.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
Good luck to everybody out there. Have a winning day.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you for letting me talk. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
We'll see you. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's almost impossible not to be smiling when he gets going.
Yeah, he gets going.
And I thought he was an introvert this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good energy, to say the least.
But to wrap up, because he likes the Reds. I think I like the Reds tonight too, even though I don't. Dude, should I double dip? Because I'm already the series price. We talked about that just before he came on. And that kid Tony Santillan ate up a lot of innings last night, showing off a nice breaking ball and like I think he gave them more than six. Probably I think it was six because Amir Garrett came in for the seventh, and then somebody that did a garbage job came in for the eighth, and then Brock got the ninth. But yeah. I mean, that Reds bullpen is the one that worries me in terms of Cincy. But I'm typically in the Fejru Smiley crowd, and Ronald Acuna Jr. game time decision. We'll see if lineups are out. They might be already. I'll check when other people are on, so I can look at my phone without looking away from the camera. But they held him out yesterday in the hopes that he'd be in the lineup today.
Yeah, sure. I can put the screen on me for a change,
All right, go
and
ahead.
then you can
Go for
look at it.
I'll take a look.
I did text Tony Finn here to see if he had something come up or not, but don't know yet. But Steve Merrill had another conflict, so he will not be appearing for his little 10-minute spot. And it's probably better that way because all he did the last time was harass Tony Finn and then left me holding the bag trying to control Tony Finn then. And,
Well,
yeah.
Acuna Jr. is in the lineup leading off, and then they also have Gillaretti batting eighth, who was absent yesterday. So a little healthier Brave squad than anticipated, but we'll see. I mean, that might keep me off of it. Although I agree with Vladimir Gutierrez looking like a solid prospect. So, but that
absolutely.
that ballpark, the way it plays, and then the fact that the bullpens are shaky, but they're shaky for both ends. So if I do double dip, it'll be small.
Yeah, that's the way to double dip, for sure. The smaller, the better, I guess, or the less big, the better.
Yeah.
But last night, was just kind of hanging out, and then every once in a while, the Prez will text us, and I think it's random maybe, but anyway, he asked me about the San Francisco Giants, and I knew then already I was going to have a 4-unit play on the Oakland A's, and I had the report done, so I sent it over to him, and I have to say I was humbled when he gave me a big shout out on the WagerTalk Today show. And, as you know, Tony, I don't do self-promotion all that well. I'm going to sign up for Joe D'Amico's classes and do a little bit better with that, but I can promote the hell out of anybody else. But when I hear that, and it wasn't solicited and it was, people were DMing me, do you see what the press is saying? And you just hope that at that point it's good and not, a tease or a put down or something, but it was very much appreciated. So I actually thought I would share the research on this. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, with our time, Tony, you know it better than anybody. There's not enough time in the day to do research like I did for this game. But I had the time yesterday, so I wanted to, every once in a while, I want to do a comprehensive report and share it with, what a real report looks like what my NFL report is going to resemble. So it's probably best if I just kind of read this. So we have Manny, left-hander, pitching for Oakland against Johnny Cueto of the Giants. And this is a 4-unit best bet on Oakland using the money line. So this is the Battle of the Bays. It's a 3-game series. Game 1 is tonight. And what I started out with here, Tony, was that Cueto on April 14th suffered a injury which was initially reported as cramping. And cramping, I would think, knowing baseball the way I know, in the bicep area. And he was out for 3 weeks. He did win that start, though. He threw, I think, 54 pitches in that game and then came out. He threw a fastball and just kind of went like this to the dugout, meaning that I can't pitch anymore. And then I was tracking him since, and the ERA has been ballooning ever since. He's given up 8 home runs on the season. 6 of those occurred in the last 3 games, 2 each to those 3 opponents. And I think he's kind of this problem, whatever it is being masked the fact that the Giants are scoring 5.4 runs for each of his starts on average. His last start, he did record a quality start, which for those that don't know is 6 innings or more and no more than 3 earned runs. And he did it against the Phillies, which is not exactly a juggernaut offensive team. He threw 53 fastballs, 18 changes, 8 sliders, and 4 curves in that start. And what really caught my attention was the significant number of reduced sliders. He was averaging 24 sliders per start going into that Phillies game, and he threw just 8. And it's telling me something like there's something not right with him. It's just, when you throw that slider, your fingers are on the side of the ball like this, and it does create more pronation on the release, which, if you keep your thumb at 9 o'clock or down, you're probably not going to have any elbow trouble for possibly your entire career. And that's so important for Little League coaches to understand. Like, I just absolutely despise the coach or the father or daddy ball, and the kid's on the mound and throws a curveball at the age of 10, strikes the kid out, and then the dad goes wild. I mean, it makes me sick. It just makes me sick. So, and his, what else do I have here? The slider is not being thrown. It's going to be interesting to see tonight how many he does throw. Strikeout percentage is 19%, and expected batting average are all significantly below Major League Baseball averages right now, which is very unusual for him. The Giants lead the majors in home runs, and Cueto's whiff percentage is below average at 24% of pitches thrown. The A's lineup is built for power hitting, but only Sean Murphy, Mitch Moreland have whiff percentages above 30% of pitches thrown. 5 of the A's batters in the regular lineup have whiff percentages below 25%. One of the greatest number of batters in any lineup in the majors. And that, to me, matches up really well against Cueto, especially if they're going to anticipate him throwing fastball, especially on first pitch. I wouldn't be surprised to see the A's be real aggressive on that pitch, on the very first pitch, and just attacking it. And then on the analytical side, the A's are 15-3 in games that Manny starts, and the game has a posted total between 7 and 8.5 runs over the last 2 seasons. In 4 career starts against the Giants, he's 2-1 with a 4-1 team record and a sparkling 2.73 ERA and a 1.177 WHIP. And then I have a little betting system here to sum it all up. An interleague matchup, betting on an American League team starting a pitcher with an ERA of 4 or better, facing a National League opponent with an excellent offense scoring 5 or more runs per game. Coming off a blowout win of 5 or more runs, has earned a 29-23 record for 56%, but a 15.4% ROI because most of those plays were slight underdogs, and that's spanning 15 seasons. If the team we are betting on is the road team, which the A's are, in an interleague matchup, the record soars to 16-9 for 64% and a 45% ROI, and it says to bet on the Oakland A's. Now, my first question to you, Tony, on this research, what do you think of my analysis with Cueto's reduced amount of sliders? From 24 average to 8?
No, I think that's a tremendous catch. And yeah, you want to project guys that are not going to get out of the third inning, because that's what makes baseball betting easy. When it's a tight game and you're relying on bullpens, then it's a sweat and it becomes a fluke. When you right. come out and win a game. So that type of handicap, if you're that confident in it, is absolutely necessary. And Manny has been really good of late. So I definitely get. What do you think about laying the 1.5 runs on the road for $1.50?
I looked at that too, and that would be, I would make it into a combination bet. So I would do, I wouldn't do 50-50, but it would have to be in that 25% minus 1.5 run line at the minus 150, and then 75% on the money line. Because any other combination, if you think about, obviously you're going to go 50-50 and they win by 1, you're going to lose money. And that's not the goal.
Right.
I'd almost be tempted to do the. Now you're actually talking about the plus 1.5, right?
Yeah. No, you're getting you're laying 1.5 if you're Oakland, but you're profiting
right
plus 150 at least at the Westgate right now. There's varying lines, but Westgate's got it at $1 and $1.50. Laying the 1.5 with Oakland.
Right, and you're getting plus 150 money back. So yeah, that
correct.
That matches what I said with the strategy. So you you would take the money line, the bulk of your normal bet, say 75 to 80%, and then use the remainder to go for the 2 or more run victory, getting to plus 150.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not work tonight, but
well, I like that because if you're anticipating this, then the advanced metrics people for the Oakland A's have to also be on it. That there's got to be a game plan involved, and if you're absolutely right, and Cueto doesn't have it, especially in the first game of a series, it becomes let's save the bullpen for a more winnable game and throw in the towel. I mean, we've seen a lot of blowouts in baseball lately. Because guys are running out of gas. We're seeing guys brought up for spot starts. So it becomes a situation that, again, if you're dead right on this, I'm going to put a -1, and I rarely do that because it is, and I'm a big Manaea fan. He's come through for me. I have to do my research on how San Francisco has hit lefties of late, because that comes into my thing. I like to look year to date, and then I look to see how they've done lately, because also there's so much volatility in baseball lineups where teams start out April and May hitting lefties really well, and then lose a key player that really is a driving force in your lineup, and it changes everything. So, but yeah, I mean, baseball is such a grind because you have to know who's hot. Most recently, I saw that Freddie Freeman finally raised his batting average above 258 for the first time this season last night because he had a couple of hits. You see guys catch fire. You can't pitch to Nick Castellanos right now. Like they intentionally walked him, and then he homered off him, and then he came through with a big hit late. Some guys just see the ball like a beach ball, and that's who you have to back. Your Kyle Schwarbers right now with 12 home runs this month and 2 more last night. Vlad Guerrero Jr. It becomes a situation where you go week to week and you hope for a hot start, and that your bullpen doesn't implode, and then you can go on baseball runs.
For what it's worth, I just ran the query on starting pitchers being left-handers. So the Giants are 13-8 this season when facing one. They've won 4 of the last 5. Julio Urias from the
Dodgers.
The Dodgers. Yep. They beat.
Oh, that's a big scout right there, because he's pitched well most of the season.
They beat Clayton Kershaw in the same series, May 29, May 30. They lost to Andrew Haney of the Angels. They defeated Alex Young of the Diamondbacks, but Diamondbacks lose to everybody, I think. And then they beat. They revenged the loss to Haney. He pitched again on June 22nd. And then tonight is Johnny Cueto going up against Sean Manaea.
Yastrzemski's 1 for 2. I mean, short sample sizes against Manaea for San Francisco, because I just pulled that up. Yastrzemski's 1 for 2. Looks like Brandon Belt 2 for 11. Posey's seen him 11 times, batting .364, but nobody's homered off him. I assume with the 11, they've probably seen him 3 times. Brandon Crawford 3 for 9. So interested to see that lineup. If I want to play it, the 1.5. But again, like if you're confident that you've targeted Cueto as somebody that's gonna implode early, that's what you want to see in baseball, because I think Manaea's a nice pitcher with a lead too. He'd be erratic in blowing that. So maybe you can get the innings where he gets deeper into the game, and you don't have to worry about the bullpen arms that will blow that run line lead. So yeah, definitely another angle, but I like it, and especially if you've done the research on it. That's all you can do is put forth the effort to nail down an angle that you're sure about, and you're going to be right 60% of the time. That makes you amazing. So that is what it is.
Yeah, I just think a slider is a pitch that's going to be thrown to a right-handed batter. It's not going to be thrown to a left-handed batter. all that often. I mean, there are pitchers that do it, but for those that don't know, a slider will break into the wheelhouse of a left-handed batter. So the ball will be coming in off the plate, away from the batter, and right into the barrel, and that's why it's not thrown to lefties. Instead, a changeup will be thrown to lefties when facing a right-hander. But the fact that the right-handers then can rule out seeing a slider from Cueto and just sit fastball and know that it's a sinking fastball with movement. I mean, there's still movement on it. It's, about a half an inch to an inch less horizontal movement than it was back in April before the injury, which was his third start. But he's had that kind of ability all his career. I think he started 2008. So he's been around.
He's missed a full season recently, and then I believe he started well this season because I've always liked him.
He did.
He was fantastic early in his career with Cincinnati. But and then if that's all it takes is you're trying to grind it out because if you can go, they need you on the 25-man roster. They don't want to bring up a kid that can't hang on this level. So, eat some innings and grind. And that's what he's made a career out of most recently, except for the year that he missed. I forget when it was. It was 18 or 19.
I think it was 18.
Yeah. And so, I mean, look, again, if that's something that you can nail down, then that's something that the A's have nailed down and will potentially employ tonight. And then you have to hope that they hit him with it where the Giants aren't, because that's also a very key part of baseball. Like exit velocity off the bat. Well, you nailed it right to the first baseman. He caught it, or what Manny Machado was able to do to the Dodgers the other night, which I saw people kidding around that he killed the Dodgers, and that's what led to the Cubs no-hitter last night. Isn't it wild that none of the relievers knew that they were conserving a no-hitter? I find that a little hard to believe. I
would think you would look up at the scoreboard and see the 0 below the H. Saying. I mean, I
that
thought
was
so
the story.
too.
That was the story that nobody knew. But who knows? If you're sitting there concentrating on just the score and watching the game, half watching the game, and getting your mind right, maybe. Kimbrel sure looked like he was conserving a no-hitter. That guy was locked in and he blew everybody away. They did it rather easily. Outside of I didn't see any like clutch defensive plays. I know in Pavetta's early no-hitter with Boston that got broken up. The guy in right made a fantastic catch. But I think it was a pretty stress-free no-hitter for the Cubs, and then they handled business, and it made me very happy that I stayed away from something that I was looking at. Walker Buehler hadn't lost a start in since 19 or something. I don't know. It was some ridiculous stat that he just hadn't lost a start, and the Dodgers are coming off the Padres thing. Maybe they blow off some steam. Bellinger's back, so I looked at Dodgers run line, and then I said, "I'll just play these early games," and they went so well. I'm like, I want no business with this. Plus, I'm concentrating on the Suns Clippers. So, it was surprising. Cubs got up 1-0 immediately, and then cruised.
It was amazing. I will admit I was leaning on the Dodgers too, and decided not to. And sometimes you're glad you don't do those things, but nobody thought it was going to be a no-hitter. Right. It just the line just seemed a little expensive, and why force it?
What was
it
strange
was pretty amazing.
Is Davies had a really tough history against Justin Turner. Like Turner hits him really well, and Turner wasn't in the lineup last night. I don't know why.
I don't know either. It's a bad day to give him a day rest, but
that's why I really like to wait till I see lineups to fully lock in plays, especially for clients, because as soon as I told you my big play was the Reds last night. I said Acuna's out. That's a 4-unit play, and they hung on, but it makes a huge difference, because if you're working through a lineup, from a pitcher's mentality, there's points where they have to lock in and they sometimes break.
I've been following the Reds, Tony, because they are truly flying under the radar. And I'm looking at the standings right now. They're 4 games out. Cubs and Brewers are tied. They were actually tied earlier this week on Monday with the Cardinals. The Cardinals have lost 4 in a row. Reds have now won 2 in a row, and so have the Brewers and the Cubs. And the Reds are 1 game over 500, which isn't saying much, but in that division, it might only take 10 or 12 games over 500 to win the division.
Well, I saw Sonny Gray was forced to push back his rehab start because of some back issue, but he should be back at post All-Star break, so that'll help. And if these kids really hang on their staff, that have looked promising, the lineup is loaded. And you even with Eugenio Suarez hitting a lick, he's still a threat to go deep. Votto actually looks rejuvenated. Castellanos is going to be in the running for MVP, I would think. India is your front runner for Rookie of the Year in the NL, I think, as well. So, there are very few easy outs. You got Winker, as a breakthrough player. If they can keep it up, absolutely they're a shot. They've got a shot to be a surprise contender.
Yeah, I think that's one to keep watching. And then, I keep watching the Yankees, and they went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position against Kansas City, which was their most that Kansas City has done, 0 for 10 or 0 for 8 or whatever, since 2018. And then it went all the way back to 2014. And, Kansas City is not a good team this year at all. But they're only 7 games under 500. I'm not saying they're a contender, but it just goes to show how that Yankees lineup just blows my mind. You look at them, and team batting average isn't bad. Obviously, home runs, fine. Walk percentage is above average, big time above average. Runners in scoring position that actually touch the plate, just absolutely horrid. And it's been like that now, and we're almost at the halfway point, and I don't know what's going to happen with that situation, but
getting Jameson Tyone to pitch well was a big deal. I watched that matinee game, and hopefully he continues. They say that Garrett Cole has been really working with him, and it was a really promising start against the Royals. Aren't anything to write home about, but he got some key outs, and then Judge went deep. Gary Sanchez is on fire right now, which is great to see, but he's so streaky. I expect LeMahieu to get it going. Yankees bullpen is elite.
It is.
So that is a huge determining factor for me. Going down the stretch, and we're not even at the All-Star break. So no, I'm not worried about the Yankees, and I watch them closer than most other major league teams. And Luke Voigt is back, and he homered again. So if they get those guys thumping, it's a deal. It's a game changer. And got the Red Sox this weekend. I want no part of tonight's game, though. I don't like the pitching matchup. Didn't. I looked at it. I obviously I cashed with the Yankees run line yesterday. So I'm like, let me stay off them. I'll root them on from afar without money involved.
Yeah, the last time those two teams played each other, the Red Sox swept them in the Bronx.
In painful fashion.
And there might be a little extra motivation for the Yankees tonight. But it's amazing, though. You take a look at the Houston Astros, who are just, they're a juggernaut. 437 runs scored. That's 137 more runs than the New York Yankees have scored. And that's like 44%.
Well,
more runs.
They've scored. I could be a little off on my numbers because I'm off the top of my head, but I've written this down recently because I've been on the Astros, and I'll say it. I'm on them tonight, so I think the numbers are up to date. They've scored at least 6 runs, which is amazing. 6 runs in 18 of the last 24. Yep. So and then you have guys like Garcia and Valdez who are you can see it, like wow, these guys are really talented, and obviously Greinke. So the staff is very good, low pressure for the pen, and guys just throwing up numbers.
And the guy I always like to keep an eye on because he's a kind of a family favorite is Chas McCormick, and he is a rookie. And the batting average is coming up. He was sub 200. Now I believe he's at 235, and 8 homers last I checked, about 24, 25 RBIs. Pinch runner yesterday, scored a run on the grand slam that made it 12 to whatever it was. I think that was like 7th or 8th inning. But they're won 11 in a row. Run differentials plus 144. The Yankees plus 7. Kansas City has scored more runs than the Yankees. What else can I say here? The Detroit Tigers are only 4 runs behind the Yankees. And that's about all I can say. Well, Texas Rangers are 27 and 48. Obviously, they don't have the pitching that the Yankees have, but if the Yankees didn't have the pitching, they probably would be, more than 10 games under 500. I mean, that's truly what has rescued that team to date. But we'll have to see what happens the rest of the year.
Not out of it yet.
But I have to admit, the Giants are the surprise team for sure, at least the National League.
And one last thing on the Yankees, John. They've scored 5 or more runs in 4 of the last 5 games. 7, 2, 5, 6, and 8. Now, mind you, it's the Royals are most of the damage is against. But very curious to see what the Red Sox are. And yeah, I heard Michael K yesterday because they were looking forward to all these games. You got the Red Sox this weekend at Fenway, then they come home for the Angels, and then they play the Subway Series against the Mets. So at the very least, you would expect the Yankees to be locked in. Not that helped them against the Red Sox last time they came through the Bronx.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm going to watch that game tonight. I'm actually. I lean Boston. I'm a weird fan, Tony. The Sixers are one of my favorite basketball teams. I think that's been pretty obvious. But I have never liked the Boston Celtics. I like the Red Sox, and I do like the Patriots. Even without good old Tommy still there. I just love that next man up mentality, and I get why some people didn't like the Patriots. But it wasn't a Super Bowl that they won where the announcers were saying, yeah, this guy, so-and-so, 9th round draft pick, this guy, undrafted. But they found the talent that optimized the whole thing, and they did something that I don't think any other team has been able to do. And a lot of it has to do with the quarterback's arm. But when you say now that he has more weapons by far with Tampa Bay than he ever had in New England.
No question. And
a lot of those New England teams were defense-oriented, through Belichick being a defensive guy, really the heart of matters. But a little off track here.
Let's because we're kind of running out of time, but let's talk Clippers Suns Game 4 for Saturday.
Sure. Yep.
Well, because we talked Bucks, right?
I don't think we did talk about the Hawks and the Bucks.
Because we talked about one series. I think we did talk Clippers Suns. That's true. We led with Clippers Suns because I was lamenting my 4%. So let's talk Bucks and Hawks going off tonight. Sure. Lots of juicy stuff there from my research. I expect Bobby Portis to start and Brook Lopez to come off the bench. We'll see if I'm wrong there. It could be Lopez still holds on as a veteran to his spot, but Portis already made a huge difference in that first quarter, and they barely covered that because Trae Young was so hot. But they did lead after a quarter by 3 points, and Portis was the reason why. And he's just so much more mobile than Brook Lopez that it limits how deep Trae Young can get into the paint or decipher how much he can lean back to take his shots. Again, it's very simple. If I can see that, I'll I'll say this with a grain of salt. Bud should be able to see that. But I think we'll see more Bobby Portis, and yet every major sports book that offers props had no Bobby Portis props. Not points.
Wow.
I was looking for them because that was going to be my big hit on player props today. Just not there, despite the fact that they had props on everybody else, on Pat Connaughton, on all of the Hawks fringe players. So very interesting to see, but I expect that to be something to see here, and just we'll see what kind of fight Milwaukee Bucks have early on. And whether Drew Holiday can clamp down a little more on Trae Young to keep him from getting going, because at this point, you let any of those other guys beat you. And if they do, you tip your cap. You can't let this guy go off for 48 again. And, the other interesting prop thing, Giannis is open to minus 140 over Trae Young to outscore him, despite Trae going for 48. And the number was bet up to minus 170. FanDuel took the matchup off the board. And you wonder if they took the matchup off the board because they don't want to get hit for Trae Young for fading him again, or if so many people are on the Giannis train tonight that it's going to make a difference. And which is my lean. I think the Bucks aren't that stupid where they're going to let him go for more than 30. And if the Bucks win, Giannis should go for more than 30. I think Merrill mentioned that the numbers were 33 for Giannis as his number, and Trae Young something like 30.5.
For the points, right?
Points, yes, just points.
Yeah. Points. What do I have? This is I'm looking at DraftKings. All right, so points. Giannis is over 33.5 minus 113, and Trae Young over 30.5 minus 113.
So those numbers haven't changed then.
So
it's interesting.
The one player prop I like, and it's because I do think Milwaukee, if there was ever a time for them to win a game, it would be tonight, and you certainly don't want to go down 0-2. So I was playing like an arbitrage, thinking that Drew Holiday's going to have a bigger game than expected, and Trae Young's going to have a underperforming expectations type of game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically shorting Trae Young on points, rebounds, and assists, which is over 44.5. The under is minus 125. I don't like that at all. Anything over minus 120 I don't like, but with pizza money, I might consider 125, but I think BetMGM actually has it at a better price. And on the other side, the other side of it would be I'd be going long, bullish on Drew Holiday over 33.5 points, rebounds, assists, and only minus 105, and I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, Drew's got to show up on both sides of the ball. The only thing that would scare me on that is if he had to in game one, if he attacks as much as he did because Chris Middleton was so ineffective, it almost was like he couldn't play both ends as effectively as he typically does, especially getting up into Trae. So if they get more out of Middleton tonight, maybe Drew takes a step back and allows them to play the offensive end while he concentrates strictly on containing Trae Young's space. So that's what would scare me on Drew Holiday over. I got one. I'll give out a free prop that's going out to clients as well. I gave it out on the WagerTalk NBA Today show, tip-off show. Minus 120 at DraftKings, the player matchup. Who will score more, Clint Capella or Brook Lopez? Again, same line of thinking. I just don't see Lopez seeing the floor for more than 20 minutes. Capella, if he's not in foul trouble, will get at least 35, and you're only laying 120.
I like that quite a bit, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing here on the PRAs is Brook Lopez under 16.5 is up to minus 143 VIG.
Yeah.
So they're not going to change the number, but that VIG probably keeps going higher and higher ahead of game time. So that ties right into your expectations that he will not start.
Yeah, I just don't see it. But you don't see Portis up there, right? And
No.
like, isn't it crazy? And I went even to Pinnacle, which normally has more. And I don't try to use them for props because I know people like props elsewhere. You know, Pinnacle's. You know, you can do props there, but you know, some people don't have access to it as easily as they have to DraftKings and BetMGM and FanDuel. But not even them. So it's very strange. I'm pretty sure it's just like they knew that they were going to get hit hard on it, and then what number to put on it, because it's almost like, you know, based on what we saw, and he didn't play late in the Brooklyn series.
Yep.
So, and now I think he's in a far more prominent role, and he really stepped up. I had my big play in Game 1 for the Milwaukee series. I mean, for the series opener was Bucks first quarter, and Trae Young almost stole it from me because the Bucks did play well, but you know, Young had at least 15 in the first quarter, and Bobby Portis changed that, had a huge dunk, like to hit it late, and then I think he hit a three, or somebody hit a three to go up 6, and then Lou Williams hit one right before the buzzer, and it was a 3-point game at the end of the first quarter, and I had -2.5, and I know it was bumped up to 3, so some pushed, and I felt really bad for that, but you know, you get the number when you get the number, and you get the best number. So, but no, that was a wild roller coaster first quarter. You know, it'll be interesting. I think, you know, one thing, another lean, I don't know if I'm going to play this, is first quarter under, you know, because you figure that they're going to try to keep Young from getting comfortable really early.
Yep, I like that one too. I did the breakdown of, I thought I would be able to play a middle in last night's game. So I managed to get live over 208.5. My under number was 232.5, and we had 234 points scored. So, you know, I broke even on the pizza money, so I had to keep eating Caesars for a while, according to Tony Finn. But it does make it, you know, because of my background with you know, institutional trading and that kind of thing. It feels like it's a natural thing for me to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're successful at it, you should keep at it.
But yeah, you know, I try to tell people, I think you have to have a plan before the game starts. You just can't go into it without something, you know. And if you're betting the over, okay, well, 50% there, but now where are you going to pick your spots? And that's where that implied volatility measure I use, which is the same. It's tweaked a little bit, but it's the same calculation they use for option pricing in the financial markets for the options that are on an underlying security. And you know, it's not rocket science; it's already been done before. But I noticed it this year that it suddenly hit me like, wow, the swings I'm seeing in the games in the NBA, and then the totals seem to be a little bit higher than other years, which means the higher the total, the more the price swings are going to be. And I just kind of played around with it, and there it was.
Do you think that's because more people are betting recreationally and they're just trying to catch a wider net?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. I think the swings intra-game, I would call it intra-game, you know, instead of intraday trading. Mm-hmm. So the swings are there's more 10-point runs that aren't answered by the opponent. Which is one strategy. You know, for example, if you like the Bucks tonight and Atlanta gets hot in the first quarter and rips off 10 straight unanswered, you would take the Bucks. Whatever the line is, you know, and as long as it's not -120, you do it. So that's another option, because I kind of like the Bucks tonight too, and I'd be shocked if there wasn't a 10-0 Atlanta run at some point during the first half. But then you gotta, you know, I understand it. Sometimes it makes people nervous because, oh my God, my team I bet on is already losing. Now the opponent ran off 10 more, and I'm supposed to bet them again.
Conversely,
right.
if Milwaukee comes out the way they should, and takes an early lead and goes up double digits, I would think a natural bet would be Atlanta plus, given I don't think they'll give up on the game. And I do think that they will employ a hack a Giannis strategy just to try to get back and steal it. I definitely don't think Nate McMillan comes into that saying, all right, we're happy with 1-1. At the end of the day, he might say that to himself. But so I think they'll play all 48. So if you see Milwaukee up 15 and you can get a line of Atlanta plus 14, that might be a way to play it as well.
Yeah, I agree 100% with it. I always thought it was funny at the end of a playoff, at the second game where the road team coach said, "Yeah, we got what we wanted here," but there's not 1 second before that game is over that coach is not prepared to go up 2-0.
Oh, of course.
Because you don't throw away a playoff game, and I never believed that. All right, we won game 1. Now it doesn't matter if we lose game 2. Well, it does. It does.
They all count.
They definitely all count, especially now. Tony, I'm going to take 1 minute just to look at the golf leaderboard, and
Sure.
then we'll sign off here. This Travelers Championship is a Pete Dye course, and probably the easiest Pete Dye course you'll ever play. The other ones are Kiowa and TPC Sawgrass, where the Players Championship is. Those are 2 of the monster courses where he must have been in just a bad mood. And but at the same time, I love those courses. It's just such a thrill. I have never played this one, but there's some interesting names on the leaderboard. One that I have just briefly followed, Kramer Hickok, is at 9 under. He's through 12. So I thought 18 to 20 under was going to be the number, and he's more than halfway there. Bubba Watson is in second. He is done for the day at -8 after back-to-back 66s. It's a par 70 course. There are only 2 par 5s. So par 4 recency is very important at this event. Jason Day is on 15. And he is 7 under for the day. He's tied now with Bubba Watson, so it's good to see his name on the board too. But some of the bigger names, yesterday I had to scroll down pretty darn far to find DeChambeau, and I know we have a follower in our chat room that calls him Meathead. I didn't see him in the show today, but he's always anti-DeChambeau.
Did you see the bad beat segment that they did on him?
No.
On last night, they had bad beats, and I don't follow golf, but it was amusing because he was, I guess, at -5 at one point, and then if you had him to finish top 20, you were golden, and he was all. I think the cut at minus to get top 20 was +2. And the meltdown, he finished +3, and it was one of those things where you saw him melting down. I saw the shot on 17 where he hit whatever he hit, 8, I think. It
was quad.
That kind of stuff was funny.
The infamous snowman on your scorecard. Yeah, he shot 44 on the back. I mean, he was standing on the 10th tee with the lead, sole possession of the lead. You just wouldn't think that would happen to anybody, but he must have pissed the golfing gods off, is all I can say, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah, you lose your rhythm, I guess. I've swung a golf club maybe 5 times in my life. The first time I was a lot younger, and it hurt my back, and so that kept me away from it for a while. And then I've done some driving range stuff where you're drinking and at the driving range, but I'm not going to embarrass myself. I have no idea. Like I'll take you out on the basketball court, but no. So the golf range, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. DeChambeau is -4, so he's clearly going to make the cut. But some of these other names, Dustin Johnson is -2. I mean, that's not the end of the world, but I don't know. He's underperforming, that guy. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors swirling around him that I just stay away from even thinking or saying, because I just hope that's what they are. But really, across the board here, it's a wide open event. But it is pretty cool to see these new names that that you just don't see on the leaderboard. But I do think one thing that I'm going to consistently say now for the next month leading into the British Open, I would bet John Rahm now and not wait, because if you wait, it's going to get more expensive and more expensive to bet him, and then it's going to get to the point where it's not worth it. But that guy has his act together, and he's playing well, and he has all the confidence in the world now. He'll be on European soil to win the British Open. I mean, I put him as a big favorite, and then basically there's the rest of the field. Hopefully I'm right. So I guess that'll wrap it up for today, Tony. Any final thoughts? Any other big games going this weekend?
Yeah, I'll just finish off by reminding the viewers my best bet was fade Brook Lopez and ride that prop. I've only seen it on DraftKings. It's a player matchup, Capella over Lopez, and then I'll have stuff on all these playoff games throughout because there's always some angle I like. MLB caught a hot streak, so I'll continue to ride that aggressively. And soccer, tons of soccer this weekend. There's a free pick already for Sunday's Copa America match on my Twitter feed at Mejia Dinero, which is on your screen. And just view it. It's on WagerTalk, YouTube, and all those channels as well, Instagram. And it is actually isolating a draw, which I rarely bet because it's no fun to bet draws. But it's on Venezuela, Peru on Sunday, and they're closing out the group stage in Copa America, and then the Euro 2020, the knockout stages begin tomorrow with Wales, Denmark, and Italy and Austria, and go on to much better matchups for the next 3 days after that. So soccer's going to be a blast, and I'll be heavily immersed.
Yeah, it looks like Italy's playing pretty darn well.
Yep.
I'm a soccer beginner, and I like saying that because I am having fun learning about it from you guys. It's exciting. Now that you learn the sport, watching a 1-0 game is enjoyable because you appreciate the athletes and what they're doing. But Italy right now is kind of reminds me of those Montreal Canadiens who won in overtime last night against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. It's just chemistry. You can't replace that in any sport.
No, I mean Immobile and Insigne, they're both guys that they're known, but I guess they're not household names. So, but I really watch a lot of Serie A, so I really liked Italy entering this tournament, and yet you hear the global soccer press, they faded Italy, they faded Germany due to issues with COVID and other stuff that kept them from the fact that Bayern Munich played in the Champions League final, kept them from really having a cohesive unit coming in, and that almost came to fruition because they barely made this knockout stage, but yet they play at Wembley Stadium against England, and that's not an automatic pass for me because they've had now a few more days, and one thing about skirting elimination, you get that second life, you play a little more freely.
Yeah, and Wembley's not one of the smaller stadiums in the world either.
No, but they're not packing it
massive.
Yet. Yeah,
they're not. Oh,
no,
wow.
They're not packing it yet. But I believe that's where they're going to play the semis and the finals, and there they will allow 75% capacity, but not this weekend against Germany.
And what is 75% of capacity? It's still bigger than probably any stadium here in the United States, including the college football stadiums. Especially
with how rabid they are. But that's the whole thing. Is England got lucky because, and they try to put you there in the first round, but it's where you land in the knockout stage, where as to where you play. Like Denmark's not playing in Copenhagen, things like that. But England happened to get London, and so they're going to play there, but not maybe 50%, which is still significant given how rabid the fan base is.
Yep, yeah, I love it. Can't wait. And that Immobile guy, not only am I learning the names, but just watching them. And he's not a Ronaldo, but he's still, in my opinion, one of the best I've seen in this event for sure. Yep. Tony, I love having you on. And Rob Veno is traveling Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I believe he's back Monday, if not Tuesday for sure. And Tony Finn had another commitment come up. These things happen. That's what the pub's all about, you know. We have guys that just pop in when we're not even expecting them. But next week we start again. I had Bobby Kravitsky on as a debut today. You definitely want to check out his Twitter feed. He's done a lot of really good things. He has a pretty big digital footprint as well, with 96 ties to radio stations across America. So he is a program that's listened to quite a bit, and it was just great having him on the show today, along with everybody else. So Tony, thanks for being on. I want you to have a highly profitable night and weekend, and the same thing to all the chat room. And we really appreciate you watching. And make sure you give a like. I hate begging; it might sound like I am, but give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll be greatly appreciative for that. So for Tony, myself, the Predictive Playbook, WagerTalk.com, and SportsMemo.com, may all the wins be yours.